8:30 news bulletin from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. France calls on Gulf crisis parties to resume dialogue to bring back the unity of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. Syrian military announces cessation of all combat operation in city of Daraa for 48 hours in support of national reconciliation. And the Sultanate achieves first place on Arab level in the business starts up indicator. Live from the news center of the Sultanate of Oman television, here we present to you the detail of this news bulletin. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of condolences to His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, President of Germany, on the death of the former German Chancellor Helmut Kohl. His Majesty the Sultan has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency Dani Faure, President of Seychelles, on his country's National Day. Within the efforts to solve the Gulf diplomatic crisis, France called on Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates and Bahrain to take necessary steps to resume dialogue, as it is considered the only way to bring back the unity of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. The Élysée Palace announced that the regional security is at risk in this crisis and pointed out that President Emmanuel Macron made a phone call to the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Emir of Kuwait, Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, where he stressed that it is in the best interest of all to start dialogue as soon as possible. Over 100,000 civilians remain trapped behind Daesh lines in Mosul, with a US-backed government offensive to recapture the Iraqi city entering its ninth month, the United Nations Refugee Agency said. The offensive to retake Mosul, Daesh group's de facto capital in Iraq, started on October 17th with key air and ground support from a US-led international coalition. Iraqi government forces regained eastern Mosul in January. Then a month later began the offensive on the western side that takes in the old city Mosul historic district. The Syrian military has announced the cessation of all combat operations in the southern city of Daraa for 48 hours in support of national reconciliation. The announcement comes days after the contested city witnessed some of the worst fighting in months, amid fears by opposition activists that the government will try to take Daraa, where the country's civil war began in 2011. In a statement, the Army's General Command said that all combat operations will stop as of Saturday, 12 p.m. 900 GMT for 48 hours. Activists said a de-escalation agreement brokered by Iran, Russia and Turkey in May has not brought any relief to the city. The agreement covers 4 zones in Syria where the rebels are fighting pro-government forces. Israeli security forces shot dead 3 Palestinians who, according to police sources, carried out shooting and stabbing attacks that critically injured an Israeli border police officer in Jerusalem. The attacks occurred simultaneously in 2 areas near the Damascus gate of Jerusalem's walled Old City. The police said that at one scene, 2 Palestinians were shot and killed after opening fire and trying to stab a group of Israeli police officers. The other Palestinians stabbed a border police officer before being shot dead by police. A second Israeli officer was also injured in the attacks. U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to outline his new policy with Cuba next week in Miami, announcing steps that could reverse some of the changes made by former President Barack Obama to open commerce and travel after a half-century standoff with the communist island. The Trump administration has been discussing policy changes that include prohibiting business with the Cuban military while maintaining the full diplomatic relations restored by Obama. The The White House has also been debating new restrictions on American leisure's travel to Cuba, which has more than tripled since Obama's 2014 announcement. The U.S. Navy and Japanese Coast Guard reported 7 Navy sailors were missing, and the captain and at least 2 others were injured after a U.S. destroyed and a container ship collided off the coast of Japan today. A Japanese Coast Guard spokesman said rescuers were searching for the 7 sailors who were thought to have been thrown into the sea or possibly trapped inside damaged sections of the destroyer. None of the crew of the container ship was reported injured. The Navy's 7th Fleet said in a statement that the ship's captain was airlifted to the U.S. Naval Hospital in Yokosuka and was in stable condition. It said 2 other crews suffered cuts and bruises and were evacuated. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and still to come in our news bulletin. Former German Chancellor Helmut Kohl, whose legacy includes reuniting Germany after the Cold War, dies at the age of 87. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The Sultanate achieved the first place on Arab level in the business startup indicator. It also came third in the sub-indicator of the rule of law, the indicator of institutions, foundation, political environment indicator, economic indicator, political stability and non-violence indicator, and organizational environment indicator. The Sultanate also achieved the 4th place in expenditure on education indicator and human capital indicator. It also came in the 5th place in the indicator, the easiness of tax payment. The Sultanate advanced 3 places on the World Innovation Indicator during the last 4 years. It achieved the 77th place globally on the World Innovation Indicator for 2017 issued by the World Intellectual Property Organization of the United Nations, WIPO. Islamic preachers of the Ministry of Endowments and Religious Affairs intensified their daily programs and lectures in most of mosques in the Governorate of North Al-Batina during the holy month of Ramadan, especially after Fajr and Asr prayers. Quran memorization and recitation gatherings on daily basis are organized as part of these activities. Lectures were also given on various religious and social issues that concern the individual and the whole society. These activities came to stress the important role of mosques in the daily life of Muslims, especially during the holy month of Ramadan. Ramadan iftar gatherings is one of the social features of the holy month of Ramadan in various governorates of the Sultanate. Citizens of Lizig village in the Wilaya of Mudebi in the Governorate of North Sharqiya organize an iftar gathering. People of the village work together to prepare food and drinks to break their fast. The event is attended by local citizens of the village in addition to some locals from other villages and expatriates who are residing in the Wilaya. And now all the way to Germany. Helmut Kohl, the physically imposing German chancellor whose reunification of a nation divided by the Cold War put Germany at the heart of the United Europe, died Friday at his home in Ludwigshafen. He was 87. Speaking from Rome, German Chancellor Angela Merkel said, "A life has ended, and the person who lived it will go down in history." She added that Helmut Kohl was a great German and a great European. during his 16 years at the country's helm from 1982 to 1998, first on West Germany and then all of a united Germany, called combine a dogged pursuit of European unity with a keen instinct for history. Less than a year after the November 1989 fall of the Berlin Wall, he spearheaded the end of Germany's decades-long division into East and West, ushering in a new era in European politics. It was the close friendships that Kohl built up with other world leaders that helped him persuade both anti-communist Western allies and the leaders of the collapsing Soviet Union that a strong, united Germany could live at peace with its neighbors. And now here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayers at 3:53 a.m. and Maghrib prayers at 7:01 p.m. And now for the general weather focus around the Sultanate. Clear, partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the Governorate of the Far. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear skies. Winds will be southeasterly, light to moderate. Seas will be slight with maximum wave height of 1 meter. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. France calls on Gulf crisis parties to resume dialogue to bring back the unity of the Gulf Cooperation Council countries. The Syrian military announces cessation of all combat operations in city of Daraa for 48 hours in support of national reconciliation. The Sultanate achieves first place on Arab level in the business startup indicator. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin, led by Mohammed Al-Mashayikhi, Salman Al-Amri, Suleiman Al-Buhri, and Abdul Latif Al-Balushi, with the entire news team and myself. Thank you for joining us, and good night.